You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast. With Brian, Craig, and Jeff give you all the sports news you need.
All right, guys, welcome in live here on the Outspoken Sportscast, episode 84. Welcome in, Jeff. We got your two hosts on here today, and looking forward to getting into this show, and I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. It's getting that time, Jeff. It's getting Thanksgiving time, buddy. We're getting ready for the holidays here. How about, when y'all travel, I know you're traveling down. When are you traveling down here to Texas?
We are leaving Monday morning. So I got Monday off too. I initially had a couple of days off, but I got Monday off just because I didn't want to have to stress out or anything like that. So because I'm driving straight through, I'm not going to stop. So I don't want to have to stop in Amarillo or anything like that. So yeah, we're gonna leave, and we're gonna get another thing for the cats, so they have 2 things of food and 2 things of water, so they're good. Cats are pretty easy when you go out of town, so
Right.
you don't have to worry about a whole lot. I think we're gonna drive there, get a hotel the first night, and then stay at our mom's the rest of the time at least. So, but yeah, gonna see my dad. The number 1 Cowboy fan, and give him an Orange Crush can, just to kind of put it in his face,
rub it in there a little bit.
but yeah, man, ready for the holidays, ready for some, just get out for a little bit and eat and see family and watch football.
That's what this holiday is about, man. Thursday, now we're gonna have some horrible games on. I mean, you got the Lions. I don't even know who they're playing. The Bears, I think.
Lions and Bears.
That's horrible. The Cowboys and Raiders might be okay, but I'm not expecting much. But food, family, and football. This is my favorite holiday. Growing up, it was Christmas, but as you get an adult, Christmas is just more stressful for me with the kiddos. So I enjoy the family, the food on Thanksgiving. But all right, Jeff. Well, I figured this week, it's been a little while since we did the power rankings of the NFL. We're going to give you, on the spotlight of the week, we're going to give you our top 5 teams in the NFL today, and we're going to go ahead. We'll start with number 5 and work our way up. I think it's better that way. See if there's any surprises at number 1. But, at the end of the year, we'll be able to look back and go to the other power rankings and see where kind of how things have changed. I think it's always interesting when you do these things, how they've changed during the year and who at the very end ends up actually on top. But so, Jeff, let's do number 5. My number 5 team, Jeff, and this is probably the hardest one to choose. In my opinion, I struggled. I put a couple different teams here, and then I bounced them, and I put them, and I bounced them, and I put them, and I really struggled with number 5, and way more than the other selections. I had the Los Angeles Rams here, the Los Angeles Rams at number 5, and they're too talented not to be in the top 5. I had a hard time with them though because they've struggled the last couple of weeks, the way they've lost. The Bucks to me and the Rams have slipped, losing games they shouldn't be losing. I almost put the Bucks here. I put the Rams here. The Bucks are an honorable mention. They've got to figure a way to, and I know they've added Odell and they added Von Miller. They've got to figure a way to use them to better going forward. Now, no, it's just a mix. And look, Robert Woods with them got hurt and he's been out the rest of the year. So adding Odell isn't as strong as a get we thought it was going to be because, if Odell's number 3, that's fantastic. If he's your number 2, then maybe it's not as great. It takes a little bit of that as powerful as a move it was, a little bit off the table. But I'm looking forward to see how they can use them. They didn't use them too much the other night, and they ended up losing. They got blown out by the 49ers. And so I still have them at number 5. I could see the Bucks being here as well. I flip-flopped a little bit there, but I went with the Rams at number 5. Jeff, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Tennessee. I look at it and I think like we've been saying, stick a fork in them, they're done. I just look at it and I'm like, I think that out of any of the teams and the top teams in this category, that's the one team I'm expecting at some point to come down to earth a little bit, and possibly lose some games back to back even. Because of that fact that Derrick Henry is not a part of this team right now because of injury, which is absolutely detrimental to this team. Their defense will keep them in games, and I get that. That is something that will happen, and so they will get in some close fights. But I do see a point where Tennessee's going to start coming down to earth a little bit, just due to the fact that one of their key pieces that keeps the train rolling is out. And they're not going to get him back for the rest of the year. So at some point, teams will start affecting that and start chipping away at that weakness and forcing some things with this team offensively. So because that offense may struggle, it will bleed into the defense. And I have and it's similar to the Broncos, where the defense is on the field way too long because the offense can't get it going. I could see that happening with Tennessee eventually. That defense, I think, will start to tire out as the year goes on because they'll be overworn and overworked. This will also lead to injuries possibly on the defense side of the ball as well, maybe. And if they start losing pieces on defense in terms of injury, I think this team definitely falls off. So I'm going to put them at 5 just because there is that possibility that they could even drop further down. They could move up, but I don't see it happening. So I'm going to go with Tennessee at 5.
All right, Jeff, it's very interesting. We have been saying stick a fork in them. They've been continuing to prove us wrong here. I had Tennessee number 4, Jeff, and the way they're playing right now, the teams they're beating right now, they have to be in your top 5 at the moment. I don't think you cannot have them somewhere in that top 5. I have them number 4. They've impressed me. Like I said, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I told you stick a fork in them without Derrick Henry. And here I am eating some crow here. And their big wins they just beat the Rams. They've beat Indy. They've beat the Chiefs, and they beat the Buffalo and the Buffalo Bills. And those are good wins. And to me, what Mike Vrabel has gotten this team is just rolling right now without key players. Definitely up for coach of the year, in my opinion, if this continues. To lose Derrick Henry and how much he means to them, this team. To Julio Jones has been out with injuries. The way they're beating teams has made me go, man, okay, something's working here for them. Their defense is playing at a high level right now. Mike Vrabel, to me, is up for coach of the year, in my opinion. Their schedule to fall off the rest of the year looks pretty easy going forward. So I could see them remaining to be a team to fight with. Do I have faith in the playoffs with this team? No. But anything can change. Anything can happen. I honestly don't think that the NFC or the AFC is as strong as the NFC is this year. But I could see Tennessee with a deep run in the playoffs. That definitely would not. surprise me the way they're playing right now. I am surprised they're 8-2, but it wouldn't surprise me going in with an easier back end schedule to see them at the top still there in the AFC.
And I don't think it's any argument that all these teams are going to be in the playoffs. I definitely see the Titans going into the playoffs. My problem with the team is that taking a look at, I'm not negating any wins here, but Kansas City, they haven't really been playing well of late. They played well this last week. That's the first time we've seen them play good the whole year. Buffalo has been this weird mixed bag of whatever going on. 1 minute they're on, next minute they're off. 1 minute they're on, and then their quarterback situation looks weird now. It's weird. I don't know. People are starting to question a little bit, which is weird because nobody was questioning Buffalo at the beginning of the season. Indy. I mean, they're, I don't know. They haven't been the same since Peyton, obviously. And then losing their other quarterback via retirement way early in his career is a little weird. But the Rams, the win against the Rams, I think was a real big one for me with Tennessee. And that one really stuck out where I was like, wow, okay, that's a pretty big deal. Whether or not the Rams were had an off game or not, doesn't really matter. They beat the Rams. So you can't ignore that. So I definitely see these teams in the playoffs. Any of the teams we're talking about, definitely in the playoffs. And it is a correct thing in terms of the AFC. It's an absolute joke. It's interesting because you could flip either or of these two categories, by the way, of this next team. That's when you were talking about the Rams, you could flip either or.
Right.
right now.
I know I made my top 3 and then 4. I was like, I got to put Tennessee, and then number 5, it was crazy. I put some honorable mentions down here. I have the Ravens honorable mention. They're iffy though, still too, not playing consistent enough for me. And one team that's on the rise, Jeff, and I thought about putting them in my top 5, but I didn't, is the Patriots.
Yep. That's
the
what I'm hearing.
My gosh, the way they're playing this defense, and we talked about this a little bit a couple episodes ago, but now Bill Belichick finds a way to win with the team he has, and he's found that way. He's found the formula. They just smoked Atlanta 25-0. Now Atlanta is not a good football team, but this defense is fantastic. Mac Jones is playing to what Bill Belichick needs him to do. He reminds me, and I'm not going to sit here and say Tom Brady, okay, obviously, but when out of the quarterbacks drafted, I said Mac Jones to New England is the best fit for this team out of any other quarterback that got drafted, and I truly believe that because Mac Jones is the type of guy that's not going to turn over the football, and as long as he's making those smart decisions with the ball, they'll be able to control the clock, and they're going to maneuver down the field with long drives, control the clock, and their defense is hard to score on. It's a winning formula for Bill Belichick. That's what he did with Tom Brady, and that's what he's doing right now. I expect them to come on a surge and they could possibly win that division since the Bills have been a little iffy, and if you go look at the Bills' schedule and who they've beat, they really haven't beat nobody. Right, they've beat a lot of nobodies, and so that worries me going into because they still got to play New England twice this season and stuff like that. So the Patriots are honorable mention moving up that ladder, and I don't think they're getting a lot of talk right now.
I mean,
but
who knows? Team. Who knows? Later in the season, if we do another power ranking episode, it's very possible New England is one of the top 3 teams. Definitely continue down this route. And it's for anybody that's listening or whatever that can sit there and say, oh well, they put a 25-0 against the Carolina. It's like to put a donut on somebody like that is. It for the NFL is impressive because easily they could go down and gone to the 30-yard line, kick a field goal, and then they wouldn't have been blown out. And so it's hard to do that. It's not easy, and when you can blow out a team and them score no points, is a huge deal. So
holding a team to 0 points is tough to do in any sport, and let alone in the NFL. So
hockey, it happens.
Yeah, hockey, and it might baseball. You get those 1-0 games.
That's true.
But could you imagine basketball?
Oh god, There has to be something like that. I swear.
85-0. What the? I have no clue how that happens, especially in the NBA. But anyways, Jeff, go ahead and since I've been going first here, go ahead and give us your number 3 team. I'm really interested to see who you got there.
So I didn't give my number. Did I give my number 4? Okay.
No, you didn't. My bad.
I didn't give my number 4. My number 4 is gonna have to go with the Rams. And that's why I was kind of saying we're flipping on this one. I'm not giving up on the Rams. I'm not giving up on what I said about them to this point. I do think that there's a little bit of worry, a little bit. Just a tad. The last 2 games have not been well. Not gone over very well. And I just want to see this team bounce back because I could say this much. The 2 games, whatever. If they come in and then they completely show up somebody and destroy them, I'll look at them in a different way a little bit. I'll be going like, okay. You get a couple games. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to blow everyone out. You're not going to demolish everybody. But I do think this team, if they get on track now and they just ride a hot wave through the rest of the season, that's a dangerous team. I still think they're a dangerous team. They have too much talent on this team to not be looked at as a dangerous team to not want to really face. If it was my team, I would not want to face the Rams in the playoffs. It just seems like, it's going to get dialed up. That defense is going to get dialed up. Von Miller plays at a different level in the playoffs. And same with all the other defensive players on that team. I think that, and then offensively, you got Matt Stafford, who's never even been. So we don't even know what he's like in the playoffs.
He's been to the playoffs.
Well,
they never won a game in the playoffs.
But not enough. So I think that this is the most talented team he's had. It's just something they got to start winning now, period. And if they lose another game as bad as they lost the last 2, my goodness, what an absolute failure. And again, if there's anybody that of me or him that are talking about these rankings, if there's anybody that wants this team to fail, it's me. Why? Because my team has multiple picks. Okay, like I don't want, as much as I want Von Miller to win a championship. In the back of my mind, I'm going, well, it wouldn't help my team. So if anything, I would love for this team to fall apart in pain. So it's. But I don't think they will, obviously.
That's why I put them there. And I look between them and Tampa, and I think Tampa's losses are worse. They just lost to the Washington football team. So I thought about those 2, and that's why I put the Rams there. And that's why I said they're too talented to fall below the top 5.
Way too talented. And I think that once everything starts clicking with this defense, man, it's over. Like it's gonna be this wrecking ball of pass rush, just and Von Miller. I looked at some of the videos of Von Miller in his last game he played. He did well. I think that it's all him learning being on a team, learning new stuff, making sure. And they're not going to use Von Miller because sometimes Vic Fangio would use Von Miller in a pass coverage situation. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why? So I don't think the Rams are going to be doing that, which is good. I think that Von Miller should never be in a pass coverage situation. He definitely should just be paying attention to anything in front of his face in terms of the line of scrimmage and attack it that way, whether it's stopping the run or going after the quarterback. Never should he backpedal and protect a pass. But yeah, like, it's just I look at the Rams and I'm like, I'm not totally off on them yet. If they lose another game, then next week I'll be saying a different tune.
Well, it's funny you say that, Jeff, because they go into a bye week and then they come out and they play the Green Bay Packers. So that ought to be a good game. I'm interested for that one.
Is that a primetime game?
I'm not sure.
It would be a primetime game.
It seems like it would be. I'm not sure.
Like
Green Bay has a lot of those.
Sunday night football.
Right. Green Bay has a lot of those this season where we're put on front and center, which is fantastic. But it sounds like it should be. If not, it should be moved into a primetime game.
I would.
Definitely. But so we'll see there going forward. So, Jeff, go ahead and give me your number 3 team.
I I mean, it's going to be very similar, if not exactly the same. I will go with the Dallas Cowboys as number.
You stole my
3.
list here, Jeff. You stole it.
Because I cannot ignore. Obviously, I'm not going to sit there and be an idiot and go, "Well, they're off the list." They're off. So I'm going to go ahead and put them obviously on the list. They're going to be number 3. I definitely think they're playing better than the Rams, and they're playing better than Tennessee in terms of what they've done to this point. They did lose to my Broncos. Who the heck knows what happened in that game? Because the Broncos ended up getting absolutely embarrassed the next week. So, which makes no sense. So when you look at this, like I look at it and I'm like, they did have some wins against Chargers and they beat the Patriots.
Yes.
Okay. So against the Patriots and Vikings. Now, I don't know. I think the Patriots are a different team now. I think that they are on a different level than they probably were then. Chargers, I don't even know. Vikings, we know what they are, and they're not much. And so the big wins are there. It's just, I think the problem that plagues this team is the horrible division they're in, which doesn't set the team up in a very good way. When you have a sorry division, not competitive at all, you don't really get challenged too much, and you don't get you're not really shown or given the ability to really show what your team can actually do. And we're going to see that against the Cardinals. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most watching when it comes to the Cowboys. The Chiefs are going to be interesting coming up this week. And the reason I say that is because the Chiefs are playing as well as they played all year. Granted, it's been one game, and it was against the freaking Raiders, which it is what it is. I mean, they've been known to be streaky in their entire last 10 some years. But the Chiefs did put up 40-something points on them. You can't really ignore that. That's the stuff they would do. If this was last year, we would be like, yeah, that's Mahomes. So. Mm-hmm. If Patrick Mahomes drops 40 on the Cowboys, the Chiefs are officially back. They figured something out. They fixed the things they fixed. And the AFC is in trouble. I will say that.
What's crazy about them, Jeff, is they're in the top of their division right now, too, the Chiefs.
Right. And our division is a joke. It's no different than the Cowboys division, honestly. It really isn't. So it's just kind of like our division's a joke, and I just want to see. The problem with the Cowboys is that they've always found some way to get in their way. They've always found some way to lose a game, completely not show up. It happened earlier this year. They should have beat the Broncos. They should have beat them pretty handedly, and they didn't do that. And it was very surprising. As much as I'm a Bronco fan, I would love my team to win. They shouldn't have won the game because of the way we played all year. Now, we played them good, but the Cowboys did something the Cowboys have been known to do. Lose the games against the teams they should beat. And they lost a game against a team they should beat. So, again, they should beat the Chiefs. I mean, but if the Chiefs are back, maybe that's a different story. But they should hold up toe and toe with the Chiefs. We'll talk about a situation that might affect that later in the episode. But still, that is something that needs to stick out. Because I'm going to say, if they lose against the Chiefs, and they should lose bad, this team is hot or cold. Hot or cold. And then we'll go into, if that happens, are they hot or cold? That's the question. And that's the one I want to know, because if they're hot or cold, flip a coin. They could be on a streak in the playoffs and then I'll go deep, or, lay an egg at home and you go, well, that was that, I guess. And then come up with excuses as to why that happened, whether it's Dak's ankle, whether Zeke's hurt, whether the officiating threw a flag and they shouldn't have. We come up with all these different analysis and excuses for this team every time. And I think sometimes you just got to be understanding that sometimes maybe the team is hot or cold, and the Cowboys have been known to do that. This season's a little different, but they've been challenged sometimes. But the one game that really stuck out to me was that Denver game. I was surprised that they lost.
Well, Jeff, you took a lot of my bullet points here,
I
but
didn't even look at them.
I do have the Dallas Cowboys number 3, led by Dak Prescott. Dak, he's actually, I think, the favorite to right now to win MVP, if I'm not mistaken, or he's top 3 at least. The big wins have been the Chargers, the Patriots, and the Vikings. The Patriots win looks a lot better now that the Patriots are a lot stronger of a team. The Vikings have been playing teams well this year. They're tough, but they did lose to a backup Cooper Rush. And then the Chargers win looks iffy right now because the Chargers are so inconsistent. But they did beat them and projected them to lose.
Which, oddly enough, that game could have gone the other way. I mean, it should have gone the other way, but could have gone the other way, and the Cowboys would have actually lost that game. So it's kind of like, you remember a statistic you told me last year, or maybe it was the year before that, and you were like, the Cowboys have been known to only really win these close games, field goals, or like, so it was like their wins are very coin flip. And so if you're talking about that Charger game, I mean, like, it easily could have gone another way. Wins win, but it easily could have gone the other way, which when it comes to sports that's not a statistic you really want to be a part of. You don't want to be a part of a team or a part of be happy when your team only wins by that 1 point or whatever, because it's like, it could have easily gone another way. I think the Rangers were something you talked about that one time. They won a lot of games.
They won
off home runs or something like that. And it's like the odds of that are so slim.
Yeah. It's those 1-score games and odds are that you're going to win a certain amount of them. And the Rangers were so far past it. It was like, this isn't going to go bowled well when we go to the playoffs. Yeah. And it didn't for us, but
so that was one with the Chargers. But
the thing is look, the Dan Quinn deserves some credit what he's got done with his defense and what they were last season and what they are now. The division sets them up for an easy playoff berth, easy win. That's going to happen. It's what can they do in the playoffs. Bouncing back last week and dominating the Falcons was a good thing to see for the Dallas Cowboy fans after losing like you did to Denver. It's about how you bounce back and not mull on that. And we've talked about it before, is somehow the Dallas Cowboys somehow find ways to lose a game instead of finding ways to win a game. And this year they've not really been doing that. Now you're going to lose those games to Denver. You're going, Green Bay lost to the Saints. We lost to the Chiefs. You find those games where your teams lose, they're not going to go undefeated, and they're going to lose those games sometimes that you're like, why did we lose this game? How did we lose this game?
You shouldn't have lost to the Chiefs.
But without Aaron Rodgers, we should have still won the way our defense played. That's a different story. But Dak Prescott's got his team playing good. They're playing really well. They're going to Kansas City. I projected Kansas City to win that game, in my opinion, just because what they did to the Raiders, and it's in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. I think they win. But I said it could go either way, 50-50 in that game. But Dallas, to me, is the better football team. It just depends on what chief teams you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the Cowboys are not a team built to come back. They're just not. Once they go down, it's difficult for them to really bounce out of that. And if the Chiefs start out fast, and they're not really built to come back.
What do you mean? I think they are. I mean, they've got the high-powered offense. They've got plenty of wide receivers and weapons.
They couldn't come back against Denver, and that wasn't even that many points.
Well, at one point it was for the Cowboys 30-0.
Yeah, but that was towards the end of the game. Going into halfime, it was 19.
Your defense is good too, Jeff.
Right, but it doesn't matter.
You're not going to come back on 30 points down with against a good defense.
We were only up by a touchdown and a field goal, I think, at half. Like 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and it's like you could have come back. Like, it doesn't for as high powered as everyone says the Cowboys offense is, they could have at least did something, but they didn't. They didn't to the end. They did it to the end, and then they tried to come back, and it's too late. I think if Patrick Mahomes goes on a tear, scores 3 touchdowns within 1 quarter, that's going to be Dak's gonna have to match that. And it's like,
that's to say that against any team is if you let Patrick Mahomes score 3 touchdowns in one quarter, yeah, it's gonna be hard for any team to come back, no matter how high powered that team is.
I don't trust Dak going toe to toe with somebody, like especially if Patrick Mahomes can do what he did last week. If he can match that, I don't know if Dak can match that.
I have no worries with Dak. My concern with them is their defense and guarding Hill and Kelsey, and that's my biggest concern is because they do have Trayvon Diggs, but he gives up a lot of yards. Patrick Mahomes, if he can not throw turnovers this game, I think the Chiefs hold on to win. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be like a 34-31 type victory. But like I said, it could go either way. The Cowboys, they came off a bye week into Denver, and I think that they just came in too cocky and was like, all right, well, who are we playing next? Because Denver's no challenge, and then they ended up getting punched in the mouth. But what you want to see after your team gets punched in the mouth is how they bounce back. And they bounced back really then good against the Falcons last week. So regardless of who it was, they bounced back and the way they did it.
And I think, but I think if when we talk about, like when it talks about these power rankings and why I'm putting them, why I think the 3 sounds like a good spot for them, you kind of look at it and go, well, as much as it's like, yeah, they destroyed the Atlanta, but you got to see them really get challenged, and the only time I've really seen this team get challenged was the Chargers, Tampa Bay, and Denver. That's been it the whole year. But
that was a good game. That was close. Okay, so, I don't know why it was good.
The Patriots, was that in Foxborough?
Yeah, it was in Foxborough too.
So that and when it comes to that, but do we know for a fact that New England's going to be a definitive issue in the playoffs for any person in the AFC? We don't know that yet. They're playing right now, yeah, but that train could fall off at any moment. And it really comes down to pieces of the defensive, obviously Mac Jones, but in terms of like, this team has had so many years of just failure that you got to be able to really prove it. And I think if there's any year that the Cowboys could do it, it's this year. And if they don't, if something weird happens, then I question this team really even doing much. The amount of weapons they have on this team is insane offensively, and there's no excuse, really. They could easily take down these other teams, and if they go up against a challenge and that challenge hits them in the face, I mean, Denver is not a formidable foe, man. Like they're just not. Like, we're not a team to be scared of. Do we have a defense? Sure, but it's not like we're elite top defense in the NFL. Like, and somehow we stifled that offense, and a lot of it's like, well, it's a bye week, and Dak was, Dak may have not been. Dak was healthy. There's no excuse there. Zeke was limping. No, Zeke was fine. There's no excuse there. The offensive line failed. Okay. The offensive line had issues, and you can't deny there were drop passes. There were overthrows. There were all these things. And just to go off and go, well, it's a bye week. Could you imagine if you, as a fan, going, well, after the bye week, we're probably going to lose a game. Like, not in the NFL. Not in the NFL. You can't just go into it like that. So I think that there's some excuses that sometimes get made with the Cowboys, and I think that you got to just go, who is this team? They bounce back against Atlanta. Now let's see them continue on. And if they can continue on, then they're a legitimate threat. I think that if they can beat the Cardinals are the one. That's the one where I'm like, beat the Cardinals and beat them bad, I'll take you seriously.
All right, Jeff. There you go. Speaking of the Cardinals, they're my number 2 team.
Number 2.
They're 8-2. They I thought about putting the Dallas Cowboys here, but I said I can't do that because the Cardinals have been playing so well. That backup Colt McCoy is 1-1 this year, and they dominated with him against the 49ers. Anytime you put a backup quarterback in, odds are you're going to lose, and they ended up dominating the 49ers. They did lose last week. Kyle Murray should be back this year. Or this week, hopefully. For them, their big wins have been the Tennessee Titans, the Browns, and the Rams. Those are some good wins. The Browns has been a little iffy, but those are some good wins against good teams, and they're playing really well on both sides of the football. The defense and the offense really complementary with each other. But the one thing that this team has really done well, and no one's really talking about, is Arizona's rushing attack has been fantastic, setting up play action, setting up their quarterback Murray to throw the ball really well, and taking time off the clock and giving your defensive rest, and it all goes in together when you're rushing the ball very well. But they've been playing fantastic, and I got them at number 2. I think they are a threat in the playoffs. They're going to probably win their division. It depends on between them and the Rams, but I don't want to face the Cardinals or the Rams in a wild card game, Jeff, because one of those two teams is going to be a wild card, and that's insane to go, oh man, we could be facing a really good wild card team round 1 in the playoffs. But so I got Arizona number 2. Jeff, who you got there?
I'm gonna stick in line here. I'm gonna go also with Carolina, or not Carolina, Arizona.
Carolina.
I saw Cardinals. I'm like, Carolina. Nick Cam Newton's bringing them back. Wrong again. So no, Arizona. I'm going to stick with them. I've been touting this on the podcast multiple times. I've been touting this multiple weeks. Arizona and the Rams are a team that if I was anybody going up against them in the playoffs, it would be very worrisome. It's just they're all in the NFC. So it's just the worst case scenario for teams coming in the NFC. This is also, I think that the fact that they beat the Rams tells me a lot. This was even when the Rams were playing very well. And this is before those horrible 2 games that they've been in. And it's very possible that if these two teams are battling it out, and I think that the fact that Arizona beat the Browns, beat Titans have obviously a good defense, offensively questionable, obviously with Derrick Henry. I don't know if Derrick Henry was even in the game that they did beat Tennessee in, but if Derrick Henry was in the game when Arizona beat them, then that shows a lot about this team as well. I'm not quite sure. You might want to fact check on that one, Brian. I'm not quite sure if he was injured at that point or not. I know his injury is recently new, so that's a new thing. But when it comes to the rushing attack, this is a problem, and this will pose some threats in coming down the line, going into the playoffs as well. Why is Arizona at number 2? Because not only do they have a great quarterback that can throw and sling the ball, and they also have a good running attack. And if they have a good running attack, that poses a threat to even the Dallas Cowboys, which saw Denver run all over them in that game. And so I think when a team has a formidable run game, that does pose a threat to a team like the Cowboys. And obviously it also poses a threat to a team like the Rams. Now with Von Miller in there, that may be a different story. Von Miller's known to be able to pick up some of those tackles on the run for running backs. So it's just kind of, I think that may be something that may fix that for the Rams. But if the Cardinals can keep this train going, when it comes to keeping the rushing attack there, making sure that both sides of the ball are good and then ready to go, and making sure that the quarterback situation stays there and he's healthy and he's not going to get hurt. Which is, if their quarterback got hurt, I would be worried about this team. But I think Arizona is definitely deserving to be a number 2 spot here. And easily in a few weeks could even be number 1 if they continue this going forward. But this is a team to be reckoned with in the NFC, and it makes total sense why they're there. So I'm totally in line with what you're thinking. And when it comes to the you want to call them Carolina,
the Carolina Cardinals.
Oh, gosh.
Well, no, Derrick Henry. It was the first game of the season. Derrick Henry did play. They shut him down. He had 58 rushing yards. They beat him 38-13. So
that says a lot right there. And if the Arizona Cardinals can do that to other teams, watch out, because if you have a running game and it gets shut down, and this team can offensively take you apart. And they got a running attack, which will control the clock. It controls the clock when you're running game. When the Broncos beat Dallas, it was because they rushed for 100. It was because of Devontae Williams rushed for 111 yards in the game. Most he's rushed all year. Most he's rushed, since obviously he's a rookie. So, his entire career at this point. And then on top of that, we had 40 points of time of possession in that game versus I think Dallas had 14. Like it's
40 minutes.
It was 40 minutes of ball possession.
No.
So, and Dallas had, I think less than 15. So it was just like, you control that clock with that running game, you're going to win the game. You're going to take that offense off the field. You're going to win. You have a higher percentage chance of winning that game by controlling the time possession. And if Arizona did that to Tennessee, man, if they did that in the playoffs, it's dangerous. So yeah,
the NFC is looking to be outstanding. It's like the NBA West, where 1 through 6 can win a championship, and it's hard to get the spot there. And so
it's hard to do power rankings when it comes to doing stuff for NFC stuff, because that's like so just.
When you look at our power rankings, and they're all NFC except Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Number 1, Jeff. And I'm gladly to say, and I'm not, I say I'm a little biased or trying to throw my team in there, but it's
the hat gave it away.
It's the one you're looking at, okay, guys. Green Bay Packers are number 1. They're number one in the NFC right now. We are number 1 in the NFC. What's the toughest division? It is the NFC over the AFC. We're number 1 in the NFL right now in the NFC, so we are number 1 in my opinion. Now we're 8-2. Look. If we showed up week 1 against Saints, and if Aaron Rodgers didn't have COVID, we could be talking about a 10-0 football team here. And we should have beat the Chiefs, even with Jordan Love, the way our defense played. Our big wins have been against the Cardinals, the team we just talked about. We just beat Seattle with Russell Wilson. And at the time, we played and beat the Bengals, who looked like they were on fire, and they've come down to earth a little bit. We got a tough remaining schedule going forward, but there's 2 different things I've noticed about this team this year that's different than last year and the things before. Is right now, Jeff, we have the 5th ranked defense in the NFL. That's fantastic. We're not even completely healthy yet on the defensive side of the football. So when we get those players back, it's like, okay, wow, how good are we going to be? Can we jump up even further? And Aaron Rodgers hasn't had a top 5 defense in a really long time. And actually the last time he did, we won the Super Bowl. This team is winning games. They're finding different ways to win games. And other Green Bay Packer teams, the way we played on offense against Seattle, where we had 0 points until the 3rd or 4th quarter, we would have lost. We would not have found a way to win that game. We would have just struggled. We struggled on offense. And kudos to the Seattle's defense for that. For a little while, we did end up winning and shutting down Russell Wilson, which was fantastic. But we would not have won those games in the past. We found a way to win. We found a way we're finding ways to win different ways. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to throw 400 yards a game. Nope. We're finding ways to control the clock, to play really good defense and run the ball. And Aaron Rodgers will win a game, and he hasn't even thrown for 200 yards. Yep. That to me makes them a scary team. They're not so reliant on Aaron Rodgers to get the job done. We can rely on our defense now. And over the offseason, when we hired Barry, I thought it was a poor job. I said, this is not going to work out. His track record says he's not very good. I'm wrong. My buddy was talking about it too. My other Green Bay Packer fan. We were wrong.
But Mama said.
Mama said. So I do have Green Bay number 1 right now. We do have a tough remaining schedule. We play the Vikings this week, who they play as well. It's a division game, and then we play the Rams. We haven't had a bye week yet, so I'm glad. I like the bye weeks to go a little bit later in the season, give us a little more rest. But
Me too.
So we're coming into the Rams when the Rams just came off a bye week. So they have plenty of time to really, game plan against us. So we'll see how we fare there. But this team, to me, Jeff, like last season, we scored the most points per game in the NFL. We had the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. I felt like that was our year. We were going to go to the Super Bowl. Coming into this year, the first couple games, my buddies were talking to me about how this team is a threat. This team, we'll always have it be a threat with Aaron Rodgers, right? But this guy's like, I don't know what it is about this team, but I think we can win the Super Bowl. And I'm looking at it going, I don't know. I don't feel that way. Last year, I felt really strongly with our offense, but the more we get into the season with this team, I go, man, we're winning games we wouldn't have won back in the day. We're finding different ways to win the game, and the pressure's not all on Aaron Rodgers. So I feel like this team is a little bit scarier, winning the games that way than they were last season. But I'm sure you've got to have Green Bay number 1, Jeff. Let me hear it, Jeff. Who do you got number 1?
Number 1. I got Carolina. No,
Carolina Panthers.
They're back. Dang it.
We're back. Oh my
I got Cleveland
goodness.
now. Washington football team.
Let me hear you say it, Jeff. I know it's coming.
Okay, so I got Green Bay. Why do I have Green Bay? I got Green Bay because, again, like Brian was, I'm going to reiterate what he was saying. The fact that they're able to win games and he doesn't have to do it on Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to do it by himself. He doesn't have to. It reminds me. Not gonna put that, but it reminds me of the year that that Denver won Super Bowl 50. Peyton was not that Aaron Rodgers lost a step, because there's a big difference there. Peyton Manning lost a step, and he was injured a lot. Matter of fact, he couldn't even feel. I think in 4 of his fingers, he couldn't even feel his fingers, and it was on his throwing hand. So, I mean, with all that being said, we had to win games in a weird way. We had to win games creatively. And when you can win games creatively, it's more dangerous. Why is it more dangerous? Because you can't game plan on it. You can't come into a game and go, oh, well, let's go ahead and attack this, because if we attack this, then the team's done. And if you go in there thinking, oh, well, let's only attack Aaron Rodgers and be done, and then the defense actually does the job and stops you, and then it forces you to do a situation where maybe you will have to kind of let off and never necessarily overblitz Rodgers, and then at some point he finds somebody and then burns you. So I think that with that being said, the fact that the reason that the Broncos won Super Bowl 50, I think, was the threat of Peyton Manning going off. And if it wasn't for that threat of Peyton Manning going off, because you knew it could happen at any moment, the defense could do what they wanted to do. And that's what we're seeing with Green Bay. The defense is being able to do what they need to do and what they want to do with that threat that Aaron Rodgers can throw 400 yards against you. And he could definitely score 3 touchdowns or more. So what do we do? And that's dangerous. You can't game plan against that. And so the fact that they do have a tougher schedule, it's going to make this team a lot more hardened. And I think that will force them to be creative. And once that team finds answers in situations to be creative to win games, then you're going to hold on, there's a truck. Okay. You're going to see, you're not going to be blindsided by things you see in the playoffs. And that's the thing, is that teams in the playoffs will start getting creative defensively to try to throw you off, because obviously it's a winner go home games. So this isn't baseball. You're not going into a series. So it's like win or die. And I think that the fact that the Packers have mixed it up already is going to show that no matter what defense throws at them so far, Nothing's going to rattle them.
Right.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, when we talk about the remaining schedule and how difficult it could be, we got Minnesota. We still got to play them twice. They play us tough. We have the Rams. We have the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens. We have the Browns, who now they don't look so tough, but they have a tough defense. And at the beginning of the year, I'm like, man, the Browns are going to be really good. They might be not as tough. That's actually on Christmas Day. So those are the remaining tough teams we play. So, we'll see.
I think it's good. I think it's exactly what you want for your team. See, this is why I sit there and I talk about what I've been paying attention to some of the sportscast stuff recently, and ever since Dallas whooped up on Atlanta, there are sports analysts that are like, they're the number one rank. They're the ones going all the way to the Super Bowl winning. And they're just completely ignoring Green Bay. They're completely ignoring, Arizona in the mix. And it's just like, because they whooped Atlanta. And I'm just like, okay, that's my thing is like, man, like it's this love affair going on right now with the Cowboys, and you have analysts that are completely ignoring anyone else and negating the Packers. And maybe it's because of the Aaron Rodgers situation. Maybe they're just like, we don't want him to win because he whatever. and we don't want it. We don't want to praise the Packers because of what happened with that situation. And it's just like, that's off the field and who cares? And so on the field, it doesn't really matter because all that happened has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers' ability to win games. And I think that's the problem. Right now, the sports media is absolutely in love with the Dallas Cowboys. This is what Cowboys fans wanted more than anything. But I'll say this much. When you're up there at the top, everyone's wanting to peg you down. And they will find ways to do it. They will. The team. It's like whenever anybody goes and plays the Yankees, they want to beat them because of who they are. So right now, in terms of the way I'm seeing things, Cowboys are number one. They're number one in the sports media's eyes. There's number one in the terms of power rankings according to most analysts. But if you actually break it down, they're not. They're not. It's him and Brian and I were talking about it just now with the Packers. They are not number one. There's reasons behind that, and you see it. As sports fans, you see it, but analysts, I don't know what's going on there. You explain that to me, Brian. Explain to me, why are sports analysts sitting there writing this blue and silver heat wave?
Well, Jeff, first of all, there might be a couple people that actually think they're number one. You're probably wrong, in my opinion, but it's because they get clicks, they get sales, they make, when the Dallas Cowboys are winning, it's way better for those analysts because they know people are going to click on them to see what they got to say about America's team, right? Even when the Cowboys lose, they're still talked about. So it's just publicity, and they're trying to get in a lot more viewers, and that's all it is. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, don't get me wrong, I've been fighting for them this year. They look like a really good football team.
Yeah.
I think what me and you come from is, let's see it in the playoffs. Show me some consistency there. Show me winning in the playoffs, because we haven't seen that in Dallas in a long time. They haven't made it to the NFC Championship game in a long time. Now, a lot of my Cowboy fans make fun of me or Aaron Rodgers or my team because they lose the NFC Championship game. I'm like, when's the last time you've been there? And that's the problem.
But going to an NFC Championship game is hard in itself. Even getting to that point is hard. And
especially like going through the NFC that we just talked about. The Rams, the Cardinals.
I'm going to tell you, whoever gets the Super Bowl in the NFC, man, they deserved it. They deserved it to go through the gauntlet of the teams that they have to go through. It's just to even get to that point. Whoever gets into the Super Bowl, if the Packers get to the Super Bowl, man, they're the favorite to win. Just whoever is in that mix, NFC, I think, is the favorite to win the Super Bowl. There's just there's too many good teams. Too many good teams, man.
The AFC is more jumbled with the 6-3 or 6-5 or 7-4, and right now it's all jumbled together, and you don't really know there's a front runner. Tennessee looks like to be that front runner right now, but like I said, do we trust them? The Patriots, like I said, coming up, I think they, me and my buddy, his name is Jeff as well. He's a Green Bay Packer fan, but he texted me and said, I could see actually taking the AFC this year. And I texted back the Patriots. He said, you're exactly right. I can see that happening the way they're playing.
I could see that. They're a sneaker team, man. They're a sneaky. That's a team that's going to go under the radar. And then as soon as you go see them, you're like, man, they're going to get knocked out first round. And they just completely railroad everyone. I could see that happening.
All right, guys. Well, those are our power rankings this week. Let us know if we're completely wrong. Let us know if you have any other teams. I could see Arizona being number one. I could see other teams there. I'm not trying to be biased. Probably some of you might think I am. I just look at the facts and try and give you a legit, respectful, truthful opinions. And that's what we try and do here on the show.
We're outspoken on this thing. All right.
There you go.
We're outspoken.
All right, Jeff. Well, the games of the week this week, there's not a lot of good games. They're really not. I think Green Bay, Minnesota will be a good one. I didn't put them on here. I got Seattle versus Arizona. And I got this game, and you might be going, well, Arizona should blow them away. But Seattle's a division game, and division games are always tougher, and they're always closer than you think they should be. I think Russell Wilson, coming back from just getting blown out or not even scoring any points against Green Bay, I think they're going to fight hard in this game. I think it's going to be closer than we expect, but I got Arizona initially taking this 4-4 win there, but it should be a pretty good game.
I'm gonna go with Arizona because it makes sense. I think Seattle obviously has problems that are a lot bigger than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, I don't think it's the problem.
Definitely
not. So I think that it's a little bit of a different thing. I hope Russell Wilson just stays healthy in that. I don't want to see another injury. I think that would be absolutely horrible. But I do think Arizona will just go ahead and finish the job in Seattle. And I think Seattle is in an inevitable spot that they don't want to they don't want to believe in, and it's obviously they're getting to a point where the Russell Wilson era may be over, the Pete Carroll era hopefully is over, and I think it's time for Seattle to start fresh. And kind of get away from that those days of yore, those Legion of Boom and things like that. So I think that those days are done, and it's okay, and it's okay to rebuild. You're seeing it in Denver. Brian will probably be seeing that this next season. So it's all right.
I'm not ready.
It's okay.
Well, when you look at a team that's scared to move on, you look at the Atlanta Falcons. My gosh, that is the worst example of it. They're holding on to Matt Ryan. They're holding on to these players, and I'm like, where's your rebuild? Why didn't you take a quarterback in the draft this year? What are we doing here over there? You're setting your team up for a longer failure than you have to be. And like Seattle, I think you're exactly right. In my opinion, I'm not a big. I like Russell Wilson. I love him. I think he's a great quarterback. I'm not a big fan of Pete Carroll, but I think Pete Carroll's so dug in the organization that I don't think Russell Wilson's there next year. I think he forces his way out, and that organization. It's a lot easier to find a new head coach than it is to find a elite quarterback. And to me, they're going to. I think they stick with Pete Carroll over Russell Wilson, and. Which is a horrible move in my opinion. But I think you're exactly right. Seattle's got to find what's going to happen next. And I don't think Russell Wilson's there next year. That's a hot take of mine. But
I mean, the big question is does Russell Wilson even really want to be there? So
that's the big question. And we've heard rumors
whether the organization wants to move away or not.
Right.
He doesn't want to be there, which it seems, I don't know if he wants to be even part of a rebuild. I think he needs to go to a team that's ready to go.
And I think that's what he's realizing.
Could you imagine him like, I don't know, like with Tennessee or, because that threat of Derrick Henry and then Russell Wilson, I think
I could see him going to the 49ers.
Oh, that's another one.
Division
And
rival.
it's not far. It's not far
at all.
Nope.
What he could do with him. They've always talked about getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo every year, no matter how good he plays or not.
But they have a new quarterback.
Well, they do have Trey Lance.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about getting Russell Wilson, I think that Shanahan would over there would be like, give me him right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think when you talk about that kind of stuff I think Tom Brady set up the precedent for all these quarterbacks going, hey, I could easily go to this team. I could easily go to that team and we would have a better shot. And I think that's what Russell Wilson's realizing is I don't want to sit around for a rebuild and I'm not willing to do so. So I think he's gone next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Arizona. I know we got a little off track there. Arizona winning this game. The next one, Jeff, is the Dallas Cowboys and the Chiefs. And this is in Arrowhead. The Chiefs coming off 41 points against the Raiders team, who many believe to be a good team this year. Well, let me rephrase that. Who many believe not to be a good team this year, and they've surprised some people, and they've had a decent record. But I think that they're so hit or miss and hot and cold. It's really hard to understand. Yeah, exactly.
Par for the course.
And look, like I said earlier, I got Kansas City winning this game. It's not because it's Cowboy hate. I don't, whatever. It's because if Patrick Mahomes found out who he is again, like he did last week, going to this game is going to be difficult. Can the defense cover Hill and Kelsey and not allow the big plays? I don't know. We haven't really seen that as of yet. I mean, they played the Chargers quarterback Herbert really well in week 2 or 3, whatever the week was, but that was a long time ago. And so we'll see. I got the Chiefs winning this one 31-30 probably, or 34-30 probably. This is a close game. And that's what I got, though. What do you got, Jeff?
I'm gonna go with Kansas City based off of past stuff. It's so hard to understand and believe a team completely falling off the wayside and screwing up and messing up an entire season. I don't really see that happening at all. So it just seems odd that a team could just go from being in the Super Bowl to like not even making the playoffs. Makes no sense. The fact that they did bounce back last week shows me that there's something about this team that makes them special. And I think that going into Dallas, like I said earlier, I think that a lot of people, there's sports analysts that do think that the Dallas Cowboys are the team. The fact that Kansas City's probably going to be listening to that all week is probably going to show them that they're going to try to prove something this week. So I'm gonna go with Kansas City, and I agree with you that it's probably going to be close.
All right, Jeff, and the next one I got is Indy versus Buffalo. And I know it's kind of one of those games like, but Buffalo's got to prove something, Jeff. And Indy is not a horrible team. They're not a team that you're going to be able to walk in and just dominate. Usually, they got a really good defense. They have Carson Wentz, who's playing pretty good as long as they're healthy. They got a good rushing attack. I think Indianapolis wins this game. I think this is going to be Buffalo a test for them, and I think Indy wins. And I think the Buffalo fans there are going to be starting to get worried about what this team truly is going forward in this season.
Yeah, I had to close the door. So yeah, I think that I'm going to go with Buffalo because I think Buffalo is a good team, and I think that, I mean, obviously Indy's a good team, but I'm going to go with Buffalo because I still think this team's good. I want to think this team's good. I want to think that they're a legitimate contender going forward, and I think their quarterback is good. I think their defense is solid. It's just, I don't know. This team is, something's wrong if it continues going down this direction, but I think maybe this might be a bounce back game for them. At least I'm hoping so. So I do think, again, I think this is just like the Cowboy game. I do think this one's going to be close. Maybe even by a field goal separation, possibly. So I'm going to go with that. I'm just going to, I'm going to go with the field goal. So 24-21.
All right. Last week, Jeff, let's see. I think you were 3-4 on the 2 games we picked there, and I was 2-2 or something like that. 2-4, something like that. You did better than me last week on picking those games. All right, Jeff. Well, let's jump into the headlines of the week here.
Headlines of the week.
Headlines of the week. All right, Jeff. We got the headlines of the week this week, and the beginning of the week, it was kind of a slow period of stuff to really talk about, and then we've had some things that are here or there. So I'm glad we did, because I was having a hard time filling up these headlines. But number one, Jeff, is and the Lakers. Okay. We're not going to talk about their struggles and how bad they are right now. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Staples Center, Jeff. The Staples Center that has been the Staples Center in LA for 22 years. But it'll be changed to Crypto.com Arena. Okay, it's a horrible name. What a disgusting name. What are they doing? Well, I'll tell you what they're doing. They just took a check. Okay, the amount of check that Crypto.com had to pay was $700 million. And I tell you what, Jeff, if I had to legally change my name to Crypto.com for $700 million, I'm now Mr. Crypto.com. So I get it. It's just a horrible sounding name after all these years of the Staples Center, and I'll still call it the Staples Center, because no one's gonna go, let's go to the Crypto.com Arena tonight. Let's go to the Staples Center.
What was it called prior to the Staples Center?
I have no idea.
Well, I'll let you take a look and see if you can pull that up as I'm talking about it. This sounds absolutely ridiculous. I think anybody in their right mind would think that it sounds ridiculous. There's a big buzz going on with cryptocurrency and what that means. And I think this may be even a cryptocurrency situation type of company or whatever that came in. Crypto is a sketchy thing. It's interesting because it is something that cannot be tracked via taxes, I think, and it's relatively like untraceable in some ways. But it's kind of like, it's a strange thing, because the problem with it is that it's uninsured. And so if something ever happens, like let's say you put all your money into crypto and somebody hacked the crypto and took it, there's nothing. You're not going to get that back. There's no company that comes around and says, hey, we'll protect your, we'll put that crypto back. Like, and so there's issues there, security issues with cryptocurrency when it comes to being able to do that. So it's a weird thing. I get it. It's a buzzword. Everyone's talking about cryptocurrency, and you have these companies coming out with throwing money around, and then you got billionaires and endorsing it and things like that. So like Elon Musk is endorsing crypto. He's not saying fully endorsing crypto, but he's endorsing it, which means he's behind it in some way, shape, or form. So it's weird to see that much money's is thrown around inside those kind of organizations that are able to actually go in and name things out of stadiums. As crazy as it sounds, that's nuts to get that plug every single game, home game, TNT commentating, right? Cryptocurrency.com Arena. Like, it's just, then you're going to get people going, what's that? And then they're going to get into it. And
well, Jeff, the Staples Center has always been the Staples Center, as it was built in 1999, and it's always been known as the Staples Center. So that
I think people will most most Laker fans will still refer to it as Staples Center. I really don't think, but it will be ridiculous to hear that in NBA 2K and on telecast during the playoffs. How ridiculous!
Welcome in to the Crypto.com arena.
I'll tune in just to hear that, dude. Just to hear the intro. I'm like, oh,
formerly known as a Staples Center. All right, Jeff, number 2 of the week, we got Klay Thompson's rehab has moved to 5-on-5 practices, so he's able to get on the court and practice a little bit there. This is scary for the NBA. The NBA right now, it just opened up its stores. It's fairly new into the season. They're getting one of their best players in the league back, and they already have the best record in the league so far. So, it's scary for them. Klay Thompson's a really good basketball player. If you already know that. The only problem is he's been unhealthy the last couple of years, and he's had season-ending injuries. So if he can stay healthy and he adds to a team that's already dangerous, it's one of those watch out for the Warriors this season.
Yeah. This is a huge piece of the Warriors coming back. He was part of the big team. He was part of the team that went all the way and won championships and all that stuff. So this is also, I think, not to say that Curry is MJ, but this is Scottie Pippen to an MJ. This is Curry's Pippen. And so I think they work well together. And the fact that he is coming back healthy is dangerous. This team is already playing good. They're going to just play better. I think maybe he'll have some rest going into that, but I think eventually everything will start clicking together because these guys haven't stopped playing or being around each other even when he's injured. So they're still on the same page and things like that. So this is good. This is good for the team. It's good for Stephen Curry.
Yes, definitely good for them. Not good for anybody else. Especially the struggling failure of a Laker team we have right now.
Did we also need to talk about the elephant in the room? LeBron's coming back.
Yes,
LeBron is coming back.
Jeff, I didn't want to believe it, but Stephen A. Smith said, Jeff, that LeBron James championship window is done. It's over. And I didn't want to believe it, and I don't want to believe it, but it might be true. Well, that's another story, another headline, another look down the road we could talk about because we get in that podcast. We get in that talk now, it'll be another hour podcast, and we can't be having that. So we'll talk about that another day and see if that's true at the end of this, maybe midway mark of the season, see where they're at. But still a little too early to tell.
Let's talk about Mr. Antonio Brown.
Oh, gosh.
And what is going on?
So Mr. Antonio Brown's former chef as is, has some beef with him and claims that Brown's vaccination card that he got to show the NBA or the NFL is fake. Brown's former chef brought this to light after Brown refused to pay him $10,000 that he says that Brown owes him for his services. If this is true, Jeff, this is a huge issue. And it probably won't get as much coverage as Aaron Rodgers, even though Aaron Rodgers didn't lie to the league and his team knew he was vaccinated. His team knew he was unvaccinated. The NFL knew he was unvaccinated. This is a completely different subject here. Antonio Brown, if true, says he's vaccinated, right? Shows the card, there's my proof, but is not vaccinated. His teammates didn't know this. This is a big issue. This is an issue that deserves the uproar if true that the Aaron Rodgers issue actually got. And that's because he did deceive his teammates. He did deceive his head coach. He did deceive the organization. And this is an organization and a team that is 100% vaccinated. They've got all their players wrapped around it to be vaccinated, wrap their heads around to go and get the vaccine. Okay. This is big if it's true. Now, the Bucks have come out and they said they looked at the cards and his card and they found no Nothing wrong with it. I don't know if the NFL is going to investigate more into this. Is this just his former chef having beef and he thought this would cause the most mayhem? I don't know. We know Antonio Brown's track record. We know he can be a little off the grid and crazy a little bit. But if this turns out to be true, this deserves way more attention than what Aaron Rodgers got for what he supposedly did not do. But it won't though. But it should.
Here's where I say maybe it will get attention. Antonio Brown is known to cause rift in the NFL, whether it be teammates, quarterbacks, coaches, you name it. He's been known. Did it in Pittsburgh. I think he did the same thing with the Raiders. Wasn't he with the Raiders for a little bit? And so, yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay, I think it's different. Tom Brady, I think demands a little bit more respect. And I think that he kind of is on his best behavior a little bit there. But the fact that this is an issue tells me a couple of things. I think the NFL is going to definitely not take this lightly. And I think that Antonio Brown, because of past actions, they're not going to necessarily take it very good. And I think they're going to do something about it. I just don't know what it is going to be. But I don't think that he has good faith in the organization itself, based on past interactions, whether it be coaching, whether it be players, whether it be whatever, whether it be the NFL itself. I think he's even called out Goodell a couple of times. So with that being said, if this is true, I think the NFL will try to make an example.
I could see that happening too with his past. And this is the deception that everyone thought Aaron Rodgers brought to forth, but
right.
His teammates knew that, and the NFL knew that.
The only outlier in this, though, is the chef has personal grind,
right?
And I think that's the problem. I only have one issue about it is the fact that the chef has already some vendetta to come and score to get money that maybe he would deservedly so maybe deserves the money because of the service he provided. And Antonio Brown decided that he was going to stiff him on the bill, and that's just wrong. Now, does it mean because you're not getting your compensation, does it mean that you come out and start throwing allegations out? And not really, but if the allegations are true, then that is a problem. But if they're not, then that makes the other guy look bad. So.
All right, Jeff, I changed up a little bit here on number 5. We'll get to number 4 real quick here, though. We have some key players that are going to miss the rest of the season. We have some key players that are out this year or this coming up week. So let's jump into those real quick. Khalil Mack is out for the rest of the season. He's going to have a foot surgery. It's going to put him out for the rest of the year for Chicago.
Sucks.
That sucks for them. The team's not that great, so will it be that much of a miss on where they're going to finish? Probably not.
But what is his contract like, though? Is his contract up?
Oh, I'm not sure. Honestly, I think it's been kind of a disappointment there in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, he's great.
He's a great player. It's just it's not really led to much. You know what I mean?
Right. The team around him is trash.
Yeah.
So.
Running back Carson is out for Seattle the rest of the year. He's going to have neck surgery, so that's taken away a big weapon for Russ Wilson in the offense there. Neck surgery is always one of those ones that you, as a fan, or makes you cringe of what could it be, because that's something that usually lingers on. So, COVID. We have Amari Cooper out versus the Chiefs Sunday. He's tested positive for COVID, and he will not play for the Dallas Cowboys. Will this change much up? I'm not sure. They have Gallup back now, and so I don't know if it really changes much of the offense. They still have Lamb making plays and being great, and Cooper's fantastic, but I don't think they'll miss a beat with the depth that they have on offense for the Dallas Cowboys. So he's out, though, Amari Cooper, with COVID. A
little bit beg to differ on that one. I do think that it will be they will have to be a little bit more creative. Mari Cooper is somebody they target a lot. It's going to be an adjustment, but I think they'll adjust. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, then Mari Cooper's out, season's over, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't see it adding much turmoil to their game on Sunday,
Right.
but
it will be an adjustment because he is a key pinnacle to the offense and sparking a run, really sparking an offensive run.
Also, Jeff, Cam Newton's back. We saw it last week as he played. He scored a couple touchdowns and the goal line and stuff. He's starting this week for the Carolina Panthers. They're still going to be bad. Cam
Super
Newton's
Bowl bound,
Carolina
baby. Panthers.
It means nothing.
Ring.
It absolutely means nothing. It's nostalgia for the Carolina team, Panthers, and their
Sell
fans.
More jerseys. Sell some jerseys.
Yeah, it's a nothing move. It's sorry. That's how I feel about it. But.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Jeff. I added another number 5 because I thought this was interesting. Details came out over why this Deshaun Watson deal between Miami and the Houston Texans did not go through, like we talked about during the trade deadline. The deal was that Miami offered 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks for Deshaun Watson, but the caviar on top was they wanted Deshaun Watson to settle with all 22 women before they made the deal. And that was not going to happen. That's exactly why that deal never went down. There was heavy talks going on. We talked about, this could happen. This would be a blockbuster trade right before at the trade deadline. But Deshaun Watson unwilling to settle with those all 22 women. And that's why he's stuck there in Houston. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I've never heard that. I've never heard, hey, let's make this deal, but your guy has to settle first. So I don't know. It's just one of those things, and I still think Houston should trade him somewhere, but I think they're kind of trying to stick it to him in a way, and it's just a bad ordeal, and we need to figure out what's going on with that too.
Yeah, we really do. And the fact
no one's talking about that anymore.
The fact that, and I think a lot of it's still an investigation. So we weren't going to hear a whole lot about it until we get closer to a trial of some kind. But I do think that shows a lot from Deshaun Watson himself. That shows that Deshaun Watson is 100% agreement that he didn't do anything wrong. That some of these allegations are, if not maybe most of them, are false or misinformed, misguided information that's looked to possibly even defamation of character, things like that. But not saying that is true. It's just saying that for somebody to be that confident in the fact that they didn't do anything wrong, to so much so to not get traded to a team and get a contract, says quite a bit about him and what he thinks about the situation. So either he is playing a mind game or he knows that he did nothing wrong. And I don't know, because ultimately that's kind of where Deshaun Watson wanted to go initially, was to Miami or to Denver, even though Denver I don't think is going to do that. But yeah, it's interesting. There was one thing I wanted to talk about. I know I didn't see this, but Tim Patrick did get a contract extension from the Denver Broncos. He got a 3-year extension.
I saw that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Who's Tim Patrick?
Tim Patrick is a wide receiver. I think he's a tight end. I'm not sure, but he's offensively. He's the guy who caught that pass that Teddy Bridgewater threw like 40 yards down the field, and it landed right in his hands at the Cowboy game, right at the corner of the touchdown. You remember that? So it was so that's Tim Patrick, and he had a big game in that game. And I think they have money, and so they go ahead and do this. And this is a number of two things that are happening. A, we're setting up the offense
for Aaron
pieces. We're setting up offensive pieces to go after a quarterback. And obviously, the other thing that this also says is Sutton's gone.
Oh, yeah.
I think Cortland Sutton is gone, and I think that Tim Patrick is going to take that spot over, because if you think about it, we do also have Noah Fant. We do also have
Jerry
Jeudy. And I think that Cortland Sutton as a bargaining chip to a team to grab a quarterback is pretty obvious that that's happening. Sutton is in the last year of his contract, I think, going into next season.
He's been injured.
But he's still, even coming back from injury, he still has played very well. And I think that that's so obvious. The fact that we didn't give Sutton an extension, but we gave Tim Patrick an extension, says a lot. It says that possibly we could even see Cortland Sutton putting on the green and orange, or green and yellow. So,
well, if you're trading for Aaron Rodgers, I'll take Jerry Jeudy off your hands.
No, Jerry Jeudy ain't going anywhere. We'll give you Devontae Williams now.
No, we don't need a running back. We actually overpaid our running back.
We'll swap and we'll pay the contract, and you'll get Devontae Williams' contract.
There we go. I'll take it. Well, Jeff, it is about that time. It's been a longer episode today, which is fun. It's fantastic now. It's about that time I asked you. Sorry, I was stretching here. Just woke up. I've been awake since 7 a.m., but
I'm still drinking coffee.
Yeah, I see that. It's about that time I ask you, Jeff, what is in your locker this week, brother?
Locker is Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving. And more Thanksgiving. And then turducken. No, I'm kidding. No. So gearing up to go out of town, gearing up to see family for Thanksgiving is one. Having some time off work, great. I love to be able to not have to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to work. And then I did complete my wife completed her cover art for her poetry book, which is also on Amazon. Anybody can grab that. And I'm already creating another cover for her other book. We're close to finishing up as well, and that will also be on there also. Been playing some Rocket League. I say that almost every week. Played some Rocket League. I'm definitely going to try to get into playing some Far Cry 6 soon. Hopefully,
you
maybe.
Still haven't. Come on, Jeff.
I know. Well, sometimes when I start to play something, I'm like, I come home and I'm cooking, and as things are cooking, I'm playing something like simple and quick.
Right.
So I'm like, I know the intro to Far Cry 6 is probably going to be a lengthy one, because most Far Cries are before you really open up the game itself. So I want to give time for that, which may be today. And then also. The Broncos have a bye week, so I'm not going to be really watching a whole lot. I may tune in to watch if the Cowboy game's televised. I'll watch the Chiefs and the Cowboys to see what's going on there. I definitely want to see Green Bay and the Rams, if that's going to be on a prime time. You might want to check that, Brian, and see if that's on a prime time to kind of let people know.
That's next week. But
next week. Sorry. So I'm on my team's on a bye week. Brian's team's on a bye week. That's interesting. But then also,
no, we played Minnesota this week.
Okay. So my team's on a bye week, so it's just I'm really going to be kind of just chilling out. But I do want to tune into the Cowboy Chiefs game if it's televised, which I'm sure it will be.
The Packers and the Rams play at Sunday at 3:25. It's not a prime time game.
That is nuts. That may change.
It's probably the game of the week, and usually the game of the week
it's televised
3:25, and it's televised everywhere.
So yeah, like I've been paying attention a little bit to I know the Game Awards coming up, so that's something I've been wanting. I voted the other day on what I think are the games of the year, things like that, even though it's really it's a marketing thing. It's not really a big deal. And then in terms of other stuff game wise, there's a huge Black Friday sale going on right now on PSN. You can get Tony Hawk 1 and 2 for $19. And I have a $5 PSN card, so I might get it for $15, which is pretty good. I mean, it's 2 freaking games, and they look amazing. So there's that, or there's like tons of sales going on that, and then obviously like Breakpoint, Ghost Recon Breakpoint is like I think $18 or $16 or something like that. It's almost like free. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of sales going on there. Black Friday stuff's going on super early. I think because everybody's trying to get their shopping done beforehand. I have to make some cookies for my sister for Thanksgiving, which is crazy. I think she's not even doing a turkey. I think this year she's just doing something different because I think turkeys are either hard to come by or expensive. So outside of that, just getting ready for the holidays. Snows on the mountains. I can see them from my balcony. I can see them from my window. And then I think we got some errands to run today to gear up for tomorrow. I got to go get an oil change. So just to kind of make sure the car is in tippy top shape before we go on the road trip, because we definitely weren't going to fly. Somebody asked us that, and we were like, I got to get in the airport on Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah. What's in your locker? That's mine. What's in yours? Say it, Brian.
All right, brother. This week, dude, I tell you what, I had to jump in on the Yellowstone craze, the TV show Yellowstone, and I was like, I got to figure this out, and I have to find a way to watch it. So I decided to. I was like, well, I'm going to get Paramount. Paramount has Yellowstone. I'll sign up for Paramount. And then I found out Yellowstone's actually on Peacock. So then I signed up for Peacock. I have all the streaming devices now, Jeff. Hulu, HBO, Disney, Paramount, Peacock, Netflix,
Xbox Game Pass.
I got not that garbage, but I have them all now, Jeff. So Yellowstone is fantastic. Next episode, you might see me in a cowboy hat with some boots and some Wranglers on and a big jacket, even though it's 80 degrees outside. Yellowstone is fantastic. I'm only in episode 3. So they're on season 4 right now. So I'm trying to binge it the best I can. It's not a show I want to watch around my kids, but it's a fantastic show. If you're not seen it yet, it is all about the hype.
So if you're wondering why Brian would be dressed up as a cowboy, he's now going to be the guy, at the cowboy games where the guys run with the flags. Brian is now doing that because he lost a bet. I'm kidding.
No, it's a fantastic show. Go watch that. Last night I took out, I like to joke around and call him my stepson, Logan, but I took him out to a arcade place, Jeff. It's called Starship Arcade. It's in Watauga off Denton Highway. And it's, I paid $10 and it's, you just play arcade games. And they had a 64 set up with 007. Dude, they had Super Mario set up. They had all these games. A fantastic place. $10 to get in. After 8, it's adults only, like 21 or up, because they do sell alcohol and they like to have the adults in there. But we went yesterday and we had a fantastic time. Played a lot of air hockey, so we had a good time last night there. Tonight, the wife's at work, but tonight we were going out to see Ghostbusters. And I was a big fan of Ghostbusters growing up. The movies were fantastic. They had the new one with Paul Rudd in it tonight. And we're going actually with her cousin. And he already bought tickets. We're going to go and see that tonight on a little date night. And we are getting ready, Jeff, like you said, Thanksgiving. The kids are out of school from now until the week after Thanksgiving. So we have them home. And we are just trying to deep clean the house. We're doing the traditional Thanksgiving. It's just me and my parents and Janice's parents are going to come over. It's just a small little Thanksgiving get together, but it's the first time at the house, the holiday season. We got the Christmas lights up on the house already. When we set up the Christmas decorations in the yard today. And we're actually going to get a new Christmas tree today after I get off this podcast show. So we're getting all festival here at the Watson household. And, we almost bought a Great Dane puppy today, Jeff. Almost. I was looking to surprise the kids with a Great Dane puppy, and I found one, but it seemed like a scam. So it seemed too good to be true. And if you don't know, in the dog world, Great Dane puppies and some registered AKC puppies can go for $3,500 easy. I'm looking to spend around 12 maybe. This one was $800. And I was like, wow, that's a fantastic price. I got talking to the dude. He sent me pictures, asked me a bunch of questions about owning dogs. And me and my wife, my wife is at work right now grooming dogs. I used to groom dogs. That's how we met. But we've always wanted a Great Dane. And I came close to pulling the trigger. They would have to ship the dog from Wyoming. I'd have to pay for it up front, then ship him. And I felt a little sketchy, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and pass. I feel more comfortable going to a breeder that I can probably drive to in Texas and pick up one.
What I was thinking.
And so that way there's no scam and everything. So we'll have to hold off on the Great Dane for Christmas.
Kids are getting Chihuahua.
You're getting a Chihuahua. Oh, no. Well, my brother-in-law just got 2 dogs. We went over to his house last weekend, and they brought him home. And I said, man, we've always wanted a Great Dane. We've talked about we're getting next dog we get's a Great Dane. And so I looked up online this morning. I was like, I got the go ahead from the wife. She's like super excited. And then I started talking to her, and we're like, yeah, it seems a little fishy. So we decided not to. And but other than that, everything else is good. Work's going good. It's I'm training people at work now, so I've added that onto the plate, and I get paid a little more money for that. So that's fantastic, and makes work a little more stressful. But I love my job, and other than that, that's what I got this week. We've been really busy. I've ordered half my girls' Christmas presents already. They should be shipped here from Amazon. I didn't know how the shipping would be. They're probably people are having a problem getting shipping. You talked about the turkey shortage. Works that didn't give us turkeys this year because they're short on turkeys. So we got to go find one.
You go out and shoot one,
right?
Brian.
Just do it. Just out back. Just do it. A couple pigeons, they'll be okay.
You can form them into a turkey. You can just tie them together, and it's like, what is this?
What is this? Make a big meatball of pigeon meat. Oh, that sounds disgusting. But
it's all gamey. This tastes like the city. Oh,
yeah. But other than that, we're doing good here, and I'm getting ready for Packer game tomorrow, baby. Let's do it. Let's get it. Let's go. I got a lot of work to do after we get off the podcast, and it's about it, man. It's about it. So, guys, I'm still working on my special little project that I've talked about a little bit a couple episodes ago. Still working on the details of that. So when I have that out here, I'll let you know. But come follow us, come like us. We are going to stream every episode on YouTube Live, so you can watch us through video on YouTube. You can watch us after the show's over with. If you go just click on these shows, you can listen to our podcast. We are on all podcast services. We are on Spotify, Apple, Google, Google Podcasts. That's to say Google Music, Google Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio. We are on every social media platform. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on TikTok. And TikTok's one I've been using a little more of lately. I throw out my predictions of the week on Thursdays and give you any kind of, little tidbits here or there on the 3-minute videos that we can do there. So
there's one particular
like us there.
Yeah, there's one particular person. I think he constantly is in the chat.
Yes.
And so
Toasty.
That one.
Yes. He's always asking for content and stuff. So
yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that he somehow interacts and stuff. So that's interesting. Yeah. But everything's been, everybody just get ready for the holidays, man. It's crazy. I hope everybody's, staying safe and have, get able to visit with family and have some good food.
Exactly. Food, family, and a little bit of football never hurt nobody. So, hope
football
you guys
hurt me. No, I'm kidding. This year did.
Bronco fans. Well, yeah, guys, enjoy your food. God bless you. I hope you're feeling a little bit more loved during the holidays this year, and hopefully you're able to have a good food. Take time to think about those that don't have as much as you do, and try and give back and share. And that's what these holidays are about, and giving back to your community, your neighborhood, or those that are less fortunate than you. That's what it's all about, being thankful for something, and maybe give something to someone that they could be thankful for having you in their life. So
I'm thankful for Brian.
I'm thankful for Jeff. We've been friends since middle school.
Cue the music.
Oh yeah. Pull out the violin. Let me get my Kleenex over here. I'll start.
This was presented by Hallmark.
Oh my goodness. But all right, brother. Well, I hope you have a fantastic week. I wish we would be able to get together when you're in Texas, but I don't know if it'll happen with your family and Thanksgiving, and I still work every day except Thursday, and so
might be hard.
But it might be hard if we can swing it, maybe something. But if not, take a look on your travels, man, and get that car oil changed.
Oh my god!
All right, burning up on you, but
all
right, brother. It's on fire on the side of the road, shoveling snow on top of it. Put it out.
All right, everyone, take care.
All right, guys. God bless.
Bye.